Spencer Lewis here for the APC United Late Model Series post-race at the Canada Day 100. Handsome Chris Mitchell, as good as the car was at Delaware, you found speed, you're running in the top 5, you end up taking out late in the going. Tonight, it looked as though you were moving forward, found that same speed in the car, and on one of those wacky, crazy restarts, something broke loose on the front straightaway that collected a bunch of cars. I could try to frame it, but why don't you go ahead and walk me through what you saw and what happened behind the wheel of your number 22M.
Well, we talked about it before. I mean, qualifying is so important in this series, and I need to work on it, right? I'm not oblivious to that fact. You know, I'm be the first one to admit that. So if we qualify better, we wouldn't be in that position in the first place. So the car's faster than that. I can race the thing. I'm confident I can still drive, you know. Just my qualifying efforts are not indicative of the quality of our piece. So again, patience, man. Like I said to you before, I started running this series. I ran 250 laps at a time in Enduro series, right? And cars that we didn't give a crap about, to be frankly honest with you. And we could run 250 laps and not have a single problem, or like, you know, you're door slamming a guy or something simple and finish that race. And now, I mean, I've got a car that's worth thousands of dollars more than an old Enduro car, and we can't run 12 laps without taking an hour with a whole bunch of guys that are, I don't know if they're staring at their hood pins or what. It's pretty frustrating. So, you know, I've been politically correct up until this point in my interviews with you, and I'd like to keep that way. I mean, I don't want my sponsors to be upset with anything we're going to say, and I don't want to call out any one individual, but this is, something's got to be done.
So it just seemed as though one of those accordion deals, I don't know if it started way in front of you. I don't know if someone missed a shift or what in the world happened.
That's my point, right? Like, you know, so I can see in front of me. If I'm coming down and crossing the start-finish line at Flamboro Speedway, I'm looking down in the corner one to see what's going on. So if you got a guy behind you that's not paying any attention, then, you know, maybe we should start sending them the repair bills for these cars, because now I've got a bent left rear frame rail and a broken left rear trailing arm bracket that I'm going to have to tube the rear end to fix and replace the frame rail to fix, and something for an accident that I stopped and avoided. And the guy behind me hits me full bore, like there's a car across the track. Lift or hit the brakes. Frustrated.
And that was just one of the incidents that happened tonight. It seemed as though we had that a lot. Yeah. In your opinion, you've been around a long time, you've been watching racing longer than you've been an active participant. So in your opinion, what in the world has happened in the last two events? I mean, we had a great run at Sunset, we had a great run at Flamboro when we were here in round 2. The first 50 laps at Delaware were very good, and then all of a sudden something just jumped off the rail. What's, in your opinion, what's been happening here?
Well, in my opinion, again, you're asking my opinion, so my opinion.
Yeah, in your opinion.
These cars they're that close, and the restarts are extraordinarily important, because that's your best opportunity to pass a guy. So a place like Flamboro, you know, we've talked a little bit about the outside groove here. You can run there okay. It's not quite as bad as Peterborough's going to be. Like Peterborough's, I'm worried for what's going to happen there, because it's going to be a fight to get to the bottom. I'm not sure guys that haven't run there before are going to be in for a surprise of how bad the outside is there. Here it's, I mean, you're going to lose a spot, but you don't get freight trained immediately like you do there. So it just get to the bottom. So on the restarts, if you're there, there's either a guy on the outside that's trying to jam his way in, or you're trying to get as many spots as you can before stuff gets spread out again. Once you get single file and the speed of the cars, the guys that get running faster lap, they start to pull away again. So the only spots you're gaining is during the restarts. And I don't know, I mean, you have to finish the race, you know, to finish well in these deals, and getting taken out by somebody else that's not paying any attention when you've missed a wreck completely and missed them over and over and over again. I guess you can only get lucky so many times, but how much of it is luck and how much of it is actually paying attention to what's going on? I mean, 9 times out of 10 I've seen the wreck and responded to it before my spotter's even on the radio, so we can't blame the spotters. He can't drive the car from up there, so somebody behind the wheel has to take responsibility somewhere down the line, and if you're staring at your hood pins, you're never going to see the accident going on. So I don't know how you beat that into somebody's head. I mean, maybe Luke's being too nice in the drivers' meetings about it. I mean, this was an ACT series race. Tom Curley would have stopped that race. You know he would have.
No, I know he would have. I know he would have.
Reamed everybody out, because it's just retarded. Nobody needs to spend that kind of money. I mean, I'm going to be into, you know, that wreck at Delaware already cost me. I haven't even fixed the frame properly yet, and now I got to fix the back too. So,
does it surprise you at all that so many of these wrecks are experienced drivers making mistakes that you learn to correct in your first year behind the wheel? I mean, does that surprise you at all?
I don't know, man. You watch the mini stocks here. Who's the experienced drivers? I mean, these guys are running 25 laps, 3 wide, and don't have a single problem. I mean, occasionally they have an accident, but not like this. And they're not stacking up and piling up cars. How many cars were wrecked here tonight? I think we came back on the track. There was 16 or 17.
Yeah,
cars
we
left.
lost 10 or 11 easily.
And I mean, they're not like they just had mechanical issues. I mean, they're tore up.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to say. I mean, for the level of skill in this field and the abilities of the drivers that are here and the experience levels that are out there, I don't have a valid explanation for it other than what I said earlier. I mean, maybe it's the only opportunity to pass the guys when you're running, you know, the same speed. When we talked earlier, I think you need 0.2 of a second probably to make a successful fast pass on somebody. Otherwise, you know, you're just creeping on them, and you finally get by. It's so hard to pass when you're all going the same speed. So that's got to be the only explanation.
Now, Sean Chenoweth had a quote that got a lot of play in the media, that he doesn't believe in home track advantages, that preparation and a proper program is all the advantage you need. He was able to sort of tread on that twice, because we've been to Flamboro, you know, twice in our first 4 events.
How'd Sean make it at Delaware?
Not so good.
Exactly.
Not so good. Well, now we get to go to Peterborough,
Yep.
and I got to ask. I mean, do you believe in a home track advantage?
Absolutely.
Or okay? So it's just what line works and knowing how the track's going to respond.
Yep, for sure. Knowing where you can make those passes, knowing the feel of the car, what to expect from the car at that point in time in the corner, down the straightaway, setting up a pass. You know, you're oftentimes at Peterborough, you're setting up a pass out of 2 in 3 or 4, right? So just knowing the line around. And here's the same deal. I mean, you looked at our qualifying effort today. I mean, guys that run here full time were right with us in the qualifying effort, right? Like Chenoweth and the 83 car were both kind of right in that general vicinity, and by the end of the race, they were both running right up front again. So, you know, that home track advantage has to be good for something.
None of this is at all possible without the people behind the scenes. I know you have a phenomenal crew, and you got some great marketing partners. So with everything you've been through in the last, not even a week, 5 days, it was enough just to get here. So show some love to the people that made it all possible.
The marketing guys are great because they look at the big picture of the whole idea. But when push comes to shove, the people that are in the shop working on this thing day in and day out, helping me out till 12:30 at night, 3 nights in a row, trying to get stuff. I mean, we all work regular jobs too. We don't get to work on these things full time. So, got to thank Josh Gruntz. He's been a huge help to me all day there at McCall's on Saturday after Delaware. We got it ready just to be able to come here, just to get wrecked again. So now we've got 17 days between now and Peterborough to tear this thing completely apart, go from one end to the other. You know, it's not just the physical damage at the one spot. It carries on forward, so you get damage here, that damages another component, that damages another component, that damages another component. One seemingly harmless wreck, it's much more than cosmetic. So Josh is a big help getting that stuff ready. I got to thank my dad. I mean, he's having naps in the car at 12:30 at night when we're still trying to get it scaled. It's the last thing we do before we put it in the trailer. So got to thank him out a lot. Nicole for being there for me. I mean, she understands. And you know, if I'm in the shop working my hiney off to get this thing ready, then that means I'm not on the couch watching a movie or taking her on a date or something. So I appreciate her patience with that. And then the guys that were helping here today, I mean, Stickman's a big help for us. Mike Rusher on the radio all the time. He's been down to the shop too, helping us out, getting the body work and stuff done on the cars, ready to go. So it's the people that make the big difference. And as much as we appreciate the sponsors, we do for sure, don't get me wrong. I mean, Rockstar Energy Drink, Dip Dynamics, Earl Island Auto Sales, Klotz Canada, every little bit helps. But the people that are here working on this thing through the time crunch, I mean, that's what makes a difference. So I guess, you know, we finished 17th today, so points-wise, I think we'll be good. There were some good cars ahead of us. You know, we may gain maybe 1 position, 2 positions, maybe. We did get back out and run some laps. The car was not happy.
No, it was making all sorts of funny noises, and it sounded like we put a bunch of billiard balls in a dryer, in a clothes dryer at some point. So it didn't seem very happy.
I'm not sure if that was all this car or not. It was more just we had to take the left rear spring out of it to fix it, and we miscounted on the number of counts to get back in, so it was way too tight when we went back out. But anyway, we'll regroup, and I just, you know, you spend all that time. It just sucks that we've got our own program to a point where we could have a better finish, and someone else's. I don't want to say stupidity, because it's not just about being stupidity. Somebody else's impatience is unnecessary. These are 100-lap races. I mean, every one of these races is an Autumn Colors Classic, right? Every single one of these is a big deal. It's like a giant invitational every week with the same people. and you can't win it on the first lap. You can't win it on the 12th lap. I just, give somebody a lift, give them a break for a second. I mean, if you gain that position or lose that position, if there's 3 guys spinning out in front of you, hey, guess what? You just gained 3 spots. So if you get in the middle of it, you're going to the back too. It doesn't make any sense to me. So hopefully, somewhere along the way, we're gonna get through to everybody else. I mean, these 2 wrecks, neither one of them were my own doing, and whether I'm never to blame for another one or not, that's not what I'm saying. But in this case, patience is going to be key for these races moving forward, and especially getting into Peterborough. I mean, I imagine Sauber will be the same way, and then you back to Sunset. I mean, the good thing about Sunset is you can run 2 wide, right? So it makes a huge difference. You see less problems there because guys are able to have a lane and make a successful pass. So I don't know what's to come, man. It's going to be interesting to see how these play out.
Well, there you go, folks. That's the best sales pitch you need to come to Peterborough and see how it's all going to shake out on July 18th. Chris is going to go home and sleep for like 14 days straight, and then we're going to see him at Peterborough. So check out his Twitter at CMR Racing.
At CMR22.
At CMR. Okay, there you go. That's the Twitter, and Chris Mitchell Racing on Facebook. Chris, all the best. Thank you for the time, and we'll check back in with you in round number 5.
Thanks.